What's up? What's up? What's up, my people? How you doing? This is my first time going live in a minute. Welcome back to a show, man. I haven't done a show in a minute. I hope you guys enjoyed this and get some value from this video. However, I do want to start the show with a segment such as the Diddy Trial, okay? So the Diddy Trial has taken a wild turn. And if you're just tuning in, buckle up, because one of the central witnesses, identified only as Jane Doe, is not only testifying against Diddy in federal court, but is still having her $10,000 monthly rent paid by the man she's helping prosecute. Yeah, you heard that right. She's living large on the West Coast, fully furnished apartment and all, funded by the same person she's accusing. It's a legal soap opera at this point with real life consequences. And according to her sworn testimony, which we'll get into in a minute in the article, their relationship was far from ordinary. She called it a love contract. And Diddy told her, "I'll take care of you." And that meant covering her rent, her dental work, yeah, because she got them teeth done, even her furniture. And she admitted it was transactional, even used her first $10,000 payment to go set up. And Diddy added another 15,000 to make sure she was good. But in her words in court, this was him giving me some love in return. Y'all hear that? But that's not love. That's a retainer with benefits, if you ask me. But with no further ado, family, let's get into the article. So it says, Diddy trial recap. Ex-girlfriend Jane testifies Combs paid her rent as leverage and treated her like an animal. And it says Sean Combs' ex-girlfriend Jane testified Monday in the music module's New York sex trafficking trial. And we scroll down. Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend Jane returned to the stand for her third day of testimony. Jane, who dated Combs from 2021 to 2024, is testifying under a pseudonym. Says she felt Combs was paying her rent as leverage to control her during their relationship. Jane also accused Combs of treating her like an animal after years of hotel nights, according to texts shown in court from October 2023. And Jane previously testified that hotel nights involved her having, smacks with other men at Combs' direction. These could last several hours, with one lasting more than 3 days, she previously testified. Jane also testified she fainted after reading Cassie Ventura's 2023 civil lawsuit against Combs. Jane said it felt like reading her own sexual trauma. Combs' attorneys called for a mistrial again, claiming that Brianna Bogolana's testimony last week was demonstrably false. Bargalon said Combs dangled her from a 17-story balcony. Judge Oram Subramam said he will address their filing on Tuesday morning after prosecutors have a chance to respond. Combs is facing sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy charges, and he was arrested in September 2024 as federal authorities alleged he threatened, abused, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires between 2004 to 2024, which is 20 years to be exact. The rapper has denied any accusations of wrongdoing. So, I put that out there to say, I said it's a retainer with benefits, right? Because it blurs the line between romance and arrangement, if you ask me, between intimacy and influence. But let's not pretend it stops there. She said Diddy hosted freak offs, basically wild smex parties involving, group activity, and she went along with it. You know what I'm saying? But it crossed her boundaries, though. But she went along with it. She felt jealous. She felt pushed. She even admitted to feeling selfish when Diddy gave attention to other women, right? Um, because these are the things that are being said when it comes to Jane said Diddy paid her rent in order to control her. Jane testified Diddy sent her doctor's notes to elicit sympathy. Jane describes, that was Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Court resumes. Jane says she didn't see Diddy for months after Cassie lawsuit. So you can obviously see that this relationship has been ongoing and still ongoing. They asked her. Jane testified that she didn't see Diddy for 3 months. Jane didn't see Combs from November until February 2024, though they kept in touch occasionally. In December 2023, Jane texts Combs, "Please stop using women for your fetish." Um, Combs then asked Jane if she was trying to set him up, and if she was recording their phone calls. Jane tells Combs she became the side chick and Smex worker in their relationship. Jane texts Sean Diddy Combs that she had became the side chick in their relationship in December 2023. Jane asked for space from Combs during their break, which she began after she read Cassie Ventura's lawsuit against him. Jane told Diddy's chief of staff he threatened to release her tapes. They got back together in February 2024. Combs asked if she was free on her birthday. Jane says she responded she was a little traumatized from spending her past birthdays with him. And Jane previously testified that Combs had her do hotel nights on her birthday. Jane testified she felt a sense of calm when they were separated. Jane joined OnlyFans during their separation to reclaim having her independence. She testified. Sean Diddy Combs hired Jane, a lawyer from Homeland Security. Jane said she and Combs split peacefully in March 2024. Interesting. So you guys get the gist of it, right? But what's mind blowing to me, Jane testified that Sean Diddy Combs paid her $10,000 rent, right? So I want to point that out there, right? Because the thing is, she even admitted to feeling selfish when Diddy gave attention to other women. So now we got emotional manipulation layered on top of financial dependency, which is a volatile mix. Because before Diddy, she was getting $7,000, if you guys don't know, a month in child support from her previous partner. Another high earning man, obviously, and the pattern here is undeniable because she moves in circles where wealthy men support her lifestyle. That's what it seems. I mean, she says she had to join OnlyFans just to have some type of independence because obviously she wasn't paying for the lifestyle, let alone paying her rent, which is $10,000 because Sean Diddy Combs Diddy was, right? So the patterns are undeniable, not undeniable. She moves in circles where wealthy men support her lifestyle, and it's a playbook in my eyes. Some might call it survival, others will call it a hustle. The defense picked up on this and pressed her hard because if you're not with Diddy and you're helping put him behind bars, why is he still paying your rent? That's $10,000 a month. And her answer is because Diddy is generous and still takes care of the people who's part of his life. So loyalty or leverage is the real question. You decide. Because here's the thing: when a key witness is still on payroll of the accused, how solid is her testimony? So that's not just messy, but it's a full blown conflict of interest, if you ask me. And to be clear, no witness so far has said they were forced or drugged. Uncomfortable? Yes. Coerced? Possibly. But criminal? That's still in question. So, what are we really watching here? A criminal trial or a moral expose? Right? So, and Jane Doe even admitted she was angry Diddy gave Young Miami, the girl that he was dating and messing around with, more money than he gave her. And that's not justice. That's just jealousy, man. That's a competition for clout and cash dressed up as a courtroom reckoning. So again, is this about accountability or is this just about the fallout from a broken cycle of excess and ego? Now that we got that out the way, let's talk about Florida. right? I want you guys to check out Florida. So we're gonna move on to the next topic. With that being said, hold up. Actually, that was Diddy's 10K love contract right there. But let's move on to Florida, right? So we got Sheriff Marcos Lopez. He had a scandal, right? Not just any scandal, but look, the man sworn to uphold the law as a sheriff got caught allegedly running a $21 million illegal gambling ring, slot machines, underground lotteries, obstruction of justice, all under the badge. That's not a scandal. That's institutional rot. Homeland Security led the takedown, and they said they got the receipts, which is the wire transfers, the text, the encrypted messages, and even photos. So with no further ado, family, check out the video.
Our next one takes us to the southeast, the Sunshine State of Florida, Osceola County in particular. Take a look at this video. All right, this is what we're seeing right now. Marcos Lopez, the suspended sheriff of Osceola County, he made his first court appearance via Zoom from jail this morning on felony racketeering charges. You're watching this video right now. Lopez was taken into custody yesterday in his uniform. Look at that. So now for more on what he's charged with, we're going to bring into the conversation our friend and colleague there at Fox 35 Orlando, reporter Marie Edinger. She joins me. Marie, so good of you to be with us here. I would say this was quite shocking. We've covered a lot of arrests in a lot of places, but not many for law enforcement in particular. What's going on?
Sure. So the sheriff, as you mentioned, has charges for racketeering, also conspiracy to commit racketeering. Those are both first-degree felonies. Each could come with up to 30 years in prison. The Department of Homeland Security actually led this investigation. It's the Attorney General for the state of Florida who is leading the charges, though. The investigation stems around an illegal gambling house that the sheriff is accused of essentially running. So he is accused of having a number of slot machines there, of running a lottery out of it. This is all taking place in Kissimmee, which is in his district. But the investigators say that it also spanned into Lake County. That's where he is in jail right now. The investigators also say that he used his position as sheriff in order to further the gambling station's profits and to obstruct an investigation. There's actually some mention made by prosecutors today about him showing up at or during an investigation while deputies were there at the gambling house and interfering. So those are allegations they're making as well. Today, he pleaded not guilty. That just came down maybe 20 minutes ago through the court system. He was given a $1 million bail, $500,000 for each of those. I talked with a criminal defense attorney who told me today that in order to post that bail, he'd have to give a bail bondsman $100,000, and he'd have to cover $900,000 in collateral to cover the $1 million total for the bond. The judge said today that in order to post bail or to post bond, that he would have to prove to the court that none of the money that he is posting came from anything having to do with illicit activity. So he has to have a court date first in order to prove that, or to prove that to the state. So he could be here for quite a while.
Now think of that. Before we continue the video, right? This is the man. His bond is $1 million, but only if he could prove the money is clean. Imagine the irony of that. When your whole empire is built on dirty money, how do you pay for your freedom? Because this is bigger than just one sheriff going rogue, right? It's about power unchecked, about how authority can get addicted, not just to money, but to feel invincible, right? Because this is a sheriff, right, who the people trust to patrol their community, to keep things in order. So how many times have we seen this, though? People don't get caught because they're stupid. They get caught because they don't know when to stop. There's no exit strategy, no accountability. And here's the kicker. While he was doing dirt, the people in his county were calling 911 expecting help. So if that's not betrayal within itself, then what do you call it? Because that's collapse from the inside. And A new sheriff has been appointed, but I'll let them expand on it. Let's check it out.
Who, up until yesterday, served as the sheriff of Osceola County, today appeared before a judge wearing jailhouse orange.
How do I start the bond process?
The judge set Sheriff Marcos Lopez's bond at $1 million. A criminal defense attorney told me today he was shocked by that.
Why do you feel it's excessive?
It's not meant to punish someone. The amount of a bond is to make sure that someone does not, it's not a flight risk.
Prosecutors argued the nature and circumstances of the case justify the bond, and the judge agreed. The state claims they have texts, WhatsApp messages, wire transfers, and more, proving the sheriff earned $600,000 to $700,000 in this alleged criminal enterprise. And they say they have photos that don't just show he was at the gambling house, but that he used his position as the sheriff to obstruct a criminal investigation there.
An extreme breach of public trust. The circumstances surrounding his misuse of office as the sheriff of Osceola County are very serious.
2 of the 4 co-defendants also had their first appearances today. Carol Cote was up first.
I have 3 young, small children.
She was given a $100,000 bond.
Hold up. Don't try to run into the Victim Olympics now, because the simple fact was, you wasn't thinking about them 3 children when you was doing this illegal activity. See, all money is not good money, family. And at the end of the day, where's the end game in this, right? Because usually individuals, they haven't done this before. They have, it's not like it's their first time doing it. They just wanted more and more and more, and they kept feeding the beast. And this is just greed, right? And it's illegal within itself. But the simple fact is, when individuals like this do these kind of acts, like even a gambler, right? Let's get it for example, because I like to break it down from a common sense perspective and bring it all in together and then have a conversation. Because we just having a conversation, I'm just letting all my thoughts, opinions, and I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong, right? But the point I'm making is, the simple fact is, they feed the beast and they feel like, you know what? I got $100, I could get 2. I got a $200, I could get 3. Just like, for example, right, you work in corporate America, so you have a business on your side. For example, you may be a content creator, whatever the case may be. Eventually, you want to reach that goal where you surpass not only being able to survive and just being able to afford the cost of living in your business on the side of you working your corporate job, but eventually you want your business to thrive. So then eventually you surpass surviving, but actually thriving to the point where you're exponentially making so much money that it phenomenally suits you well, to the point where the end game is that you can leave your job because your business is doing good. And at the end of the day, you have a substantial amount, let alone sustainable amount of money that then could carry you to be able to leave that corporate job, right? That's the end game, because now you're working for yourself. You let money work for you. It's called minding your business. So you're minding your own business, focusing on your business. And at the end of the day, you invest, hopefully you invest back into the business and also move the money right, and also create passive income assets and stuff like that, let the money work for you. Because we all know that at the end of the day, when it comes to becoming wealthy, you cannot work your way to wealth. You will die. But the point I'm saying in this case is, when you can tell they never had an end game, but now it comes to the simple fact that you got caught and now you want to say, I got 3 kids. Now, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You know better, do better. And when you know better, you should do better. And at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, people already know what they should be doing, what they should not be doing. But sometimes they just get, it's not even sometimes, they just get so caught up into feeding this vice that, oh, we can't stop now. And it feels so good in the moment, but not looking at the long-term consequences. So if anything, she's being ignorant, not only on behalf of herself, but her kids, which is bigger than herself. But let's continue.
Already posted that and been released. Next up,
Sharon Denise Fedrick.
Sharon Fedrick's criminal history is messy. She has tons of charges and a few convictions for things like identity theft, grand theft, organized fraud, and that's not all.
8 felony grand thefts in Lee County from 1993. She also has federal history.
She did 2 years in federal prison for lying to the IRS back in 2005. She's been in and out of jail in Orange County since 2016. She was just arrested again 2 months ago for 3 active warrants out of Orange County. You want to guess where deputies caught her? The Eclipse, the gambling house at the center of this investigation.
Miss Fedrick remains in custody in Lake County. Well, that makes it difficult for her to appear in Orange County. So there's a fair logistical problem there.
The judge didn't buy that argument. Fedrick got a $300,000 bail. The judge said today that if Sheriff Lopez...
It bears the question for me, family, is how much would it cost your freedom to the simple fact of not being free, where you compromise? Like, how much does something cost for the simple fact that you cost your own freedom? Like, is that deep? Like, if anything, you're doing something illegal, which is costing your freedom. And at the end of the day, what is the benefit of all this? Nothing. You lose your freedom. She already has a pattern of tax fraud. And she has a pattern. This woman right here has a pattern of continuously going to court and obviously and getting locked up and getting arrested. Not only for tax fraud, gambling issues, and let alone you name it. Right? So obviously we can see that she don't care. And to be honest, as much as you give her a slap on the wrist, she just keep feeding the same habit over and over and over again. So we're gonna leave it there, but I do want to move on to another topic that I had to speak on in regards to the show. And I wanted to speak on we're gonna talk about Los Angeles, right? We're gonna talk about Los Angeles. I wasn't gonna talk about it, but I said, you know what? Let's just have a conversation. So we shipped to Los Angeles because Los Angeles is on fire. Literally, like cars are being torched, businesses looted, tear gas in the streets, freeways shut down, and the National Guard is rolling in. Obviously, Donald Trump has called for the National Guard to roll in. And all this started as protests against immigration raids, but it's turned into chaos. Let's not stop pretending these are all peaceful demonstration. This is destruction, coordinated, funded, and strategic. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. Many of these agitators aren't even locals. They're being brought in, paid to stir the pot. Why? Because chaos sells. And we all know these are left-leaning progressives driving headlines and pushing narratives because it destabilizes everything. With no further ado, let's check out the clip. Sorry, fam. Let's check it out.
Over immigration raids have led to arrests in both Los Angeles and San Francisco. Cars were set on fire, flashbangs and tear gas were used to disperse crowds. Parts of a major freeway were shut down. This morning marks the fourth day of protests. You're seeing some of those self-driving cars on fire. Right now, all of downtown LA has been declared an unlawful assembly area. President Trump called up the National Guard to protect federal personnel and property. It's the first time a president has done this without a state's request or consent in about 60 years.
Are you prepared to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Depends on whether or not there's an insurrection. No, but you have violent people, and we're not going to let them get away with it. I think that you're going to see some very strong law and order.
500 active duty Marines are also prepared to deploy. The entire National Guard situation is setting up a showdown with California's governor. He claims the president is putting fuel on the fire. The mayor of Los Angeles accused the president of being heavy-handed.
When you raid Home Depot and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic.
For every single minute that we were here resisting against the Border Patrol, that was time that they were not out deporting people in our community.
But President Trump is urging LA's police chief to bring in the troops right now. Police say at least 27 people were arrested Sunday, most of those on the 101 freeway that police shut down. They say protesters threw things onto the road and damaged police cars. Also overnight, a large crowd protested against ICE in San Francisco.
You know what blows my mind with this, family? What blows my mind is we have come to a situation where individuals are illegal, right? Illegal immigrants. You can't, as Americans, we cannot go to Mexico and just go walk across their border and just think we just gonna go all willy-nilly and just live life and full of entitlement and all reap all the benefits and resources that they have over there. It's not gonna happen, right? So in any other country. So why is it fair? It's not fair to those who have been vetted and been through the process correctly to become a legal immigrant and also become a part of, in this case, Western culture or be a part of America. So what does it make it right for illegals to then benefit off of resources and exhaust the resources of those who have not only vetted right and came into America legally, but then also American citizens who pay taxpayer dollars on an everyday basis and work they behind off with inflation and everything in place. We got inflation, individuals just trying to figure it out. And then we over here, we got people advocating for illegals to exhaust those resources, let alone it's already disrespectful to America because they came over here entitled and they're not even legal. Out of respect for the law and order of the law of the land, which is America. Right? And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, the land has been stolen. What land has been stolen? Because at the end of the day, I'm full-blown America. I was born here. I was raised here. And at the end of the day, the only thing that's being stolen in my eyes is individuals not following the law of the land, right, on American soil. The same way it would be disrespectful if we went to Mexico and then follow their law of their land. Right? I think it's self-explanatory common sense, but let's continue.
About 60 people were arrested there. Joining me now, CNN's senior national security analyst, Juliet Kayyem. Juliet, I want to start with some of the history here because you've pointed out that usually a president can federalize the National Guard, for instance, when a governor requests those resources. When a governor says, look, I'm overwhelmed. I think back to the LA riots, also Hurricane Katrina. Based on what you've observed, is that where we were?
Yes, I mean, that's...
1 second, because I seen someone actually comment, on the live stream. They actually said, let me see if I can bring it up. Let me see if I can bring it up. 1 second, family. Let me see. Thank you. Okay, there you go. Let me move it over. Let me move you over. Let me drag you over here. So someone said, let me make it smaller. Someone said, Jane accounts of financial dependence, drug use, and emotional manipulation underscores the prosecution's effort to prove a pattern of coercion central to charges against Diddy. Just the facts. When I covered Diddy at the beginning of the stream, I actually agree with you. I don't disagree at all. She's basically like a wine independent who basically is standing up to the individual who has basically funded their lifestyle the whole time and trying to run into the Winter Olympics and manipulate the whole court system in itself and others and the jurors and everything else to prosecute Diddy and stand before the individual who has been putting food in your mouth, which is diabolical to me because the simple fact is if you know what's right is right and wrong is wrong, why did you go along to get along in the first place? And we're going to leave it there, right? But anyway, let's continue with the raids and so forth in LA protests.
This is a big distinction of what Donald Trump did. There's a series of cases coming out of desegregation when a governor defied a Supreme Court order and the president federalized the National Guard to get children into the school. So that's a pool of those cases. More recently, instances where a governor has requested additional federal support in the form of federalized National Guard assets or troops. That has always been with the cooperation of the governor and the federal government. So Hurricane Katrina, you exactly noted, and the LA riots in the past, a Republican governor and a
I'm gonna leave it there because I also wanted to look at it from different angles. I like to look at the news from different perspectives because I know you have the Republican side. You know, I know CNN is more left leaning when it comes to Democratic side. You know, Fox and so forth
We're
like that.
seeing new video showing the chaotic moments protesters and federal agents clashed across Los Angeles.
It marked the second day in a row of unrest as ICE raids continue.
It's wild.
Explosive flashbangs and clouds of tear gas filled downtown LA last night as police declared an unlawful assembly. There also appears to be some looting at a convenience store in Compton. LAPD says they detained several people and eventually arrested 27.
And this comes as the National Guard troops that President Trump ordered have started to arrive.
Eyewitness News reporter Amanda Palacios joins us live from downtown Los Angeles with the breaking update. Amanda.
Good morning. Yeah, we've already seen a large growing National Guard presence here in downtown LA. If you take a look behind me here, you can see troops are stationed along Alameda Street as another protest is expected to take place later today near City Hall. This follows President Trump's deployment of 2,000 National Guard members in response to a series of immigration protests across the city. This is new video from overnight showing the troops arrive. They stopped at City Hall after driving through Paramount.
This is the real question, though. Where's the leadership? Missing. Where's Gavin Newsome? Silent. Mary Bass. We'll get to her in a minute, I think, in the clips. I think she's in one of these clips. But she's apologizing instead of acting. We did see a little bit from the CNN side with the first clip I played with these LA riots of her speaking. But LAPD told to stand down by Karen Bass or Mary Bass, whatever you want to call her. And when local government fails, I come to think of the Fed step in because Trump sent in the National Guard, as you guys see. And the first time a president has done that without a state's request in 60 years, that tells you how far things have gone. And the spin begins, oh, Trump escalated it. Nah, LA was already ablaze. The guard is in the match. They're the extinguisher. And here's what makes it even more surreal. LA is supposed to host the Olympics in 2026. A city that can't even manage downtown disorder is about to welcome the world. Really? People are losing faith. They're leaving because leadership refuses to lead. And it's just mind-blowing to me because Gavin Newsome, he's so busy focused on his podcast and so busy playing politics, but not even really there for the people. Didn't LA just have a fire not too long ago, like wildfires and all of that? You know, individuals was trying to clean up the debris and they had to wait for, you know, to get approval from the city and so forth based on their county and everyone was going through such a heartbreaking moment with all their homes and stuff being destroyed. And Donald Trump was urging, you know, to get as much help as needed. Like people don't want to wait days and days and days for individuals to come out and clean up the debris. They want to get started now and build their homes back and restore their future and have some type of stability in their life and restoration within the city. But now we have these raids, these protests that have turned into violence because, to be honest, it's violent. It's not a peaceful protest. It was never peaceful. And that the simple fact is, even though they try to make it like it was peaceful and ICE came in and then Donald Trump sent the National Guard to lead to destruction and overexert his power, like these narratives got to stop, man. It's simple, common sense, cause and effect. You get out of hand, you get disorderly. Obviously, we need law and order. And that's how a country thrives. If there's no law and there's no order, things become chaotic. Things have already been chaotic the last 4 years and part of the Biden administration, right? The Democratic Party don't know which way. They just in the wayside. They just floating along the way. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know who is their front runner. They're still trying to figure out who their front runner. They keep talking about these. They keep talking these talking pieces or these talking points of how first it was Trump getting rid of abortion rights, right? Planned Parenthood is still here. They don't talk about that no more. Now you hear Bernie Sanders, he got his whole oligarchy tour, whatever the case may be, talking about billionaire friends. But the simple fact is, isn't Bernie Sanders a billionaire? Or wait. He said Donald Trump and his millionaire friends, right? Because he won't say billionaire because Bernie Sanders is already a billionaire. But he's flying on a private jet, going through this whole oligarchy tour, right? And now the whole fear mongering is getting rid of and cutting food stamps. Well, there is a lot of people on food stamps that are able-bodied individuals just sitting on their behind because they don't want to work and be a productive member of society, exhausting the system, while regular, everyday Joe individuals go out there and work their behind off and pay taxes to fund the system, such as social services, which is welfare, leading down, trickling to food stamps, and everybody needs a leg up, right? Everybody needs a help. You know, life is not linear. It has its ups and downs. You're not supposed to stay on it and live off of food stamps. It's to help you in a time of need, and then you get off your behind and help yourself. And if you really want to be more simplistic, just look at it, because a lot of people like to say, "Oh, you're a Republican, you're a conservative." Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm pro-American. I'm not neither party. I guess you could call me independent. But the simple fact is, I'm trying to say is just this simple. The Democratic Party is known for throwing money at problems, and then when they want to get reelected, they want to act like they had the solution. They want to solve the problem when they knew the solution overall, but they created the problem to come in and swoop and be the hero of the day to solve issues that they already knew the solution for. Why the American people suffer. They already jeopardized the trust of the American people. They lied to them left and right, right? The fear mongering, right? But I mean, we got the most transparent president in history when it comes to Donald Trump. He's very transparent. But the point I'm making is Republicans is their side is you want to pave your way. We don't want government controlling you. We want you to be more controlling your path. We want you to actually reach the American dream. We actually want to lower the deficit because to be honest, America and the country as a whole, it just, with Democrats constantly throwing money at the problem, it's just like a credit card bill just ramping up. And no matter how much they reach the limit, they move the goalpost and make another limit, right? And that will lead to inflation, and the cost of living will never be afforded. The American dream will never be made. I mean, never be in reach. I mean, it's not even in reach now, right? Individuals can't even, because the American dream used to be and was individuals being able to have their own home, have more money in their pocket, go on vacation a couple times throughout the year, and being able to invest in themselves and have education, and being able to afford to do things that they want to do when they want to do it, but let alone pave the way for themselves to make something out of themselves. But if you keep condoning in illegals coming in, because we all know it's a consensus thing when it comes to these Democrats, they're fighting. How are they fighting? Just ask this question. I think anybody can ask this question, just being very objective. Why are they fighting and protesting and rioting, and these paid actors are coming in to create violence and create these narratives and division, which is not good for our country, which is peace and unity is the most thing we need overall and above all things. That's why I always say let love supersede the hate. Why are they fighting so hard for illegals versus immigrants? They are illegal. And then individuals saying due process. How can you have due process when you're in a country illegal? What right do you have? Right? But let's continue. It just don't make no sense.
Then ended up here at the federal building. Meantime, this follows another night of protest. Video from last night shows tense moments in downtown LA as protesters clashed with police, some setting off fireworks and starting fires. Officers responded with what appeared to be tear gas to disperse the crowds. In a separate incident, demonstrators were seen entering a damaged convenience store in Compton and looting items from inside. According to the LAPD, multiple individuals who returned to the area after a dispersal order was issued on Alameda Street were detained and are expected to be booked for failure to disperse. We spoke with Mayor Bass about the deployment of the National Guard and believes it's not necessary.
My concern, and we have experienced civil unrest, and I remember 1992 very well, that one of the worst things you can do is have an extreme presence of law enforcement that gets everybody agitated and the violence actually escalates.
And today's protest is scheduled for...
Mayor Bash is horrible. They need new leadership. Look, Los Angeles is... I feel bad for that. Man, that whole... Los Angeles is a dumpster on fire, man. And now we all know, and if you do not know, I'm here to tell you because I had aspirations at one point to want to be a police officer in my county, right? The way to neutralize things as an officer is they always have to ramp up a notch when it comes to, so if you have force, they have to meet with higher force. So for example, if you have a weapon, if you have a weapon, it depends on the weapon. Let's say, for example, you have, I don't know, a skateboard, right? So they'll stand back, they'll be like, put the weapon down, right? And if you resist, they have a taser. Now, and if you have another weapon that could be a knife or anything, potentially they have rubber bullets. So they have to ramp up. The whole thing is they have to be superior when it comes to force, or so the other person is more inferior, so it neutralizes the whole thing, which then leads to resolving an issue, because if you meet the same force with force, it's just going to be clash. But the whole thing is neutralizing and stopping the whole act in itself, violent act in itself, and the whole force in itself, so it doesn't harm others and the officer itself and the individual, hopefully. But the individual, if they crashing out and they going crazy, I mean, how far you think you're gonna how far you think you're gonna go talking to a crazy person? But anyway, this is the last video or clip I want to speak on in regards to the Los Angeles protests, and then we can move on to the next topic when it comes to I want to talk about Trump and Elon Musk.
Breaking news out of Los Angeles, where the FBI says it is investigating clashes between law enforcement and demonstrators. These clashes began Friday when crowds gathered around federal law enforcement officers carrying out immigration raids in that area. And today, right now, we're seeing police using tear gas and flashbangs to clear the crowds. California Assemblymember Jose Luis Salache, who witnessed what was unfolding there, is joining us now on the phone. Assemblyman, thank you so much for being here with us. I know you represent the area, Paramount, where we've been seeing some of this happen. Explain to us, describe to us what you saw today.
Correct. I've been here since 9 a.m. when we first saw the agents drive up to my community. I was actually on the freeway with one of the vans from Border Patrol, and then I did a U-turn type of situation. I followed them, and they were here in my community. There were 7 agents waiting to open their fence. Throughout the morning, there's about 60 different vehicles that have driven in there. 25 of them plus are Border Patrol logo vehicles, and then about 30 plus vehicles were unmarked vehicles, SUVs. And right now, I'm here with my community. There's about 60 Border Patrol agents. They're there with guns. They're there, they're having a staging process. Of course, community's out here strong, opposing these raids in our community in Los Angeles. I represent this district, and our community is strongly here opposing this.
And we're looking at live video while you're talking. I see a lot of smoke. There were some smoke.
I never seen individuals like, how can you be for America but promoting jeopardizing the safety of Americans when illegals are here, which is a threat to national security, especially when it comes to America? So are you for America, or are you a traitor, or are you anti-American? I mean, it can't get that simple. I mean, right? We follow the law. Now, if I had an expired license and I drive my car, right, I'm going to get pulled over for not following the law. So what does it make it any different? Okay, I'll give you another example. Let's just follow up to my example with the driver license, right? Gavin Newsome and Karen Bass, right? Mayor Bass. Those individuals are so focused on condemning Americans if they don't follow the law, but they give illegals a pass who isn't even following the law of the land when it comes to America. It's just so hypocritical and contradicting. So are these really leaders that are for the people that elected them in, which was Americans, because they are public officials getting paid by tax dollars for their position to lobby the best interests of the American people? So it tells you right then and there that they cannot have the best interest of American people, because if you compare that to the outcome of the election, this would majority of the American people voted for, which was national security, right? And if you think about it when Tom Homan, the current borders are, when it came to that whole Lake and Lake and Riley situation. She was a 22-year-old nursing student. One second. All right, that was my timer. She was a 22-year-old nursing student, um, at Augusta University, who was tragically murdered on the campus, right? And the whole thing with that was it was non-citizens who committed the crimes, right? And if that's a simple fact, if that encapsulates the whole idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to national security and why the voter turnout and why Donald Trump was elected in the first place, why is these individuals, you can tell that they're paid actors, because if majority of the American people voted for national security and the safety of Americans, then why would individuals all of a sudden contradict that and start, creating these violent protests and things like that where national security or the National Guard has to come in? It just doesn't make sense. So obviously it's deeper than that. And obviously these individuals are getting paid to be anti-American, in my opinion, in a way. Just let me know what you guys think. However, now I want to get to my next topic. Let me see if anybody had anything to say, because like I said, we just here to have a conversation. I haven't streamed in a while. Nobody said nothing. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate anybody for watching. I'm trying to add volume to you guys' life and just have a conversation. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm going to do with it. And I really wanted to stream. I'm hoping to stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at night. And really continue to go off with that, let alone also on top of my other pre-recorded videos. But yeah, let's talk about Trump and Elon Musk, right? No. Yeah. Trump and Elon Musk. Trump says his relationship with Musk is technically over. Check out the clip, and then I'm going to give you guys my opinion. We're going to have a conversation.
All right. When it comes to Elon Musk and Donald Trump, it looks like their relationship has ended. President Trump talked to ABC, and he said President Trump on Saturday said there would be serious consequences if tech mogul Elon Musk funds Democratic candidates to run against Republicans who vote in favor of the GOP's sweeping budget bill. Asked if he thought his relationship with the Tesla and SpaceX CEO was over, Trump said, "I would assume so, yeah."
Yeah, there's also a story about what really happened when when Scott Bessent and he clashed over who would run the IRS, and also about Doge and what they were doing at Treasury. And when they left the office, the story is that Musk tried to ram him like a rugby player as he was in the hall, and then Bessent hit him back, and Trump evidently said, "This has got to stop." So there was definitely a scrum and yelling in the hall. I didn't know there was physical confrontation. Here's what Caroline Levitt said.
I certainly wouldn't describe it as a fist fight, Maria. It was definitely a disagreement. Although I was not there, I didn't witness it with my own eyes. I heard about it through secondhand reporting. But again, we've moved on from that. The president has moved on from it. And the entire administration is focusing on passing this bill. But also, Maria, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from our government remains a critical component of this administration's agenda.
In my view, the thing that did it was not the criticism of the bill, which is not helpful, but the president
Hold on.
when he said,
someone commented and said, "Y'all men are sick." Okay, what do you mean by that? Let's have a conversation. You got to expand on that. You know what I'm saying? Who is y'all men? Are you talking to me, or are you talking about men in general? That's interesting. But let's continue.
the Epstein thing and when he said the president should be impeached. Are you crazy? This is an hour after you got the key to the Oval Office, after he stood up to you with the controversial things you did. I know about the $280 million. No one begged you to do it. And Trump won elections without being wildly outraised. $1 billion didn't get Kamala Harris over the finish line, and $288 million didn't get President Trump the victory. It definitely helped. He's definitely an asset. I'm in awe of his intellect. But when he got personal like that, why would you expect Trump to say, okay, just tell him to call me and we'll forget it?
Well, the president is still furious about the whole situation. He has every right to be. But as I said last week on the couch, I believe that Elon Musk is going to come around. And you already saw it yesterday. He was retweeting the president when it came to California. He was retweeting the administration, Marco Rubio, as well as J.D. Vance yesterday about their response to what's happening in Los Angeles. And I think it goes all back to my original point. There's nowhere else to go, Elon. Either you're going to be with the party of crazy, which you just saw our first story of letting their city be on fire, or you.
And I want to say something, family, because, you know, Trump told ABC he's done with Elon, right? And honestly, we saw it coming. Reports said Elon clashed with Treasury Secretary Scott Bass. It was a physical altercation, shoves in the hallways, political drama that makes House of Cards look tame. But Musk got salty over a blocked NASA appointment, someone with Democratic ties. And when that fell through, he flipped and started calling for Trump's impeachment, started posting about Epstein. Within 48 hours, he was retweeting Trump again like nothing happened. And that's not strategy. To me, that's just instability. Because don't get me wrong, Elon Musk is a genius. No one denies that. But he's also reckless. And we need to stop mistaking recklessness for brilliance. Erratic tweets, baby mama drama, White House beefs. It's not leadership. It's chaos, and it's affecting real markets, real companies, real people. You want to build rockets? Cool. But don't try to run the country while throwing temper tantrums or helping and aiding and being a part of the administration, such as the Trump administration, while having temper tantrums. Like, come on now. Trump, for all his flaws, is consistent. You may not like him, but you know where he stands. Musk, he flips more than a gymnast, you know, and that kind of volatility is dangerous when you're talking about global influence and national policy. And, you know, he coming off bipolar. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That's what it's seeming, because how can you just sit there, do all that? Oh, just to let you know, Trump is going to be on the Epstein I'm just letting you know in the future, and just drop a bomb like that, and then later on start retweeting Donald Trump rolling out the National Guard and trying to restore law and order within Los Angeles with these protests and all this destruction and looting and stuff like that, and trying to stop basically the city from being terrorized. And now you just like nothing happens. Family, y'all ever hate somebody where they'll sit there and curse you out, and then you looking like, yo, they just talk to you like everything regular, and you like, yo, you not just realize how you just came at me and you think that's cool? Like, you got issues deeper than that. I don't know. Maybe my man Elon Musk, maybe he's sleep deprived. Maybe he need rest. I don't know. Maybe he need to take a break. I don't believe he needs to fully step away. But I do think he needs his breaks and moments here and there, or he needs a break within here. There. Obviously, he's been very efficient in cutting the bloat and cutting the waste and actually exposing the waste and the fraud, which was very disrespectful to us Americans who have put into, for example, the Social Security system to pay it forward. Also, and just other things like, the welfare system and stuff like that. And it's mind blowing to me because when I heard that the Social Security system had individuals on there that were dead, like were gone, passed away, but they still were receiving benefits. So it begs the question, obviously the family members knew about it and had to receive the benefits, because if they did right and they knew right, me knowing from experience and a family member who had passed, you report to Social Security when a family member on their behalf has passed. It's the same thing with credit cards and stuff like that, right? So obviously people were banking on the benefits of dead family members or individuals that passed away, which is not fair to the taxpayers, right? But so I'm saying all that to say that Elon Musk has played an effective role and helping America and restoring the way finances and being very transparent and getting things up to speed and upgrading the systems in regards of the accounting part of monies being used, as we know that Congress holds the purse strings and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, it's been a lot of public officials who has been making like they've been acting off, having these bloated bills, acting on the behalf of the people, but they're doing things behind the scenes for personal enrichment. So he has help, but my man, he's bipolar, man.
You're going to try to make this party better. There's a legitimate criticism when it comes to big, beautiful bill, but you just can't shut down the entire bill as a result.
We were all talking over the weekend, like, what do you think happened? What made him just flip his switch?
Well, they say Sergio Gore had a lot to do with it.
Do you think, though? I mean, he was on Joe Rogan's show smoking marijuana. Do you think he was
I agree,
microdosing?
Joanna.
Do you think he was in a different place?
What's up?
I don't want to project
Williams in the
that, but I
building?
will say he's
I'll say
with
let
the
him
thing
bat it out,
that
too.
put him over the top is when Sergio Gore, who's head of personnel, said this NASA
Very
guy,
erratic.
Mr. President, has
I agree.
given hundreds of thousands of dollars to Democratic causes, only gave you money after you won. He's going to have trouble getting through confirmation. And when they pulled the NASA guy out, who directly affects his business, and they need to work together, he said that was the last straw. Evidently, Sergio Gore and Elon Musk had this huge rivalry because he was dressed down. Musk dressed him down in front of people. He says, you're hiring people way too slow. Your vetting process is way too strict. You got to get people staffed. So that confrontation led to that confrontation, and that put him over the top.
But the bottom line, there's one commander-in-chief, and that's Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, and he
right
has
now.
the support of the American people overwhelmingly in the last election.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian
All right.
Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
That's my president. I'm with Donald Trump all the way. And now I want to talk about something interesting that I came across unexpectedly. We're going to talk about Simone Biles. I'm not sure if you guys heard of it, and Riley Gaines. I'll probably give you guys a quick synopsis so before we have the conversation. So this is Riley Gaines and her TikTok. She has two clips. This is the first clip. But getting to Simone Biles versus Riley Gaines. I wouldn't consider it a versus, but this one is deep because Simon, a legend in gymnastics, decided to publicly attack Riley for defending women's sports against biological males competing in female categories. And she called her sick. Simone Biles called Riley Gaines sick, mocked her build, and even said she should bully someone her own size like a man, quote unquote. So hold up. Simone Biles used to be body shamed for her build because she gives off a muscular vibe, but she take care of herself, right? She's strong, she's athletic, talented. She has a legacy within the gymnastic field, a legend in her own way. And that's phenomenal, right? You can't take that away from her. I actually salute her for it. I actually give her a round of applause for it. But the thing is, Simone Biles preached empowerment, and now she's throwing the same shade that once hurt her. And that's not progress. To me, that's betrayal. And Riley didn't flinch. This is Riley Gaines right here on the screen. She laid it out. This isn't hate. It's fairness. Women shouldn't lose spots, scholarships, or dignity in the name of inclusion. So with no further ado, let's check out the clip.
This past week, an Olympic champion, Simone Biles, said, "I look like a man." Let's unpack this. Brief background on me: outspoken Christian, outspoken conservative, outspoken Trump supporter, outspoken advocate for keeping men out of women's sports, which is just about the least controversial take on the entire planet. But because of that take, Simone Biles posted this on X, like literally out of the blue. I'm going to assume that she said I looked like a man because I'm relatively muscular. I'm not overly tall. I'm 5'5", which maybe seems like a giant to someone who's 4'8", but I'm assuming it's because I have muscles. This was crazy to me coming from her. Number one, because I've admired her for so long. She is the best of the best in her sport, bar none. But secondly, this came from a woman who has experienced so much scrutiny because of her muscular stature. It didn't take me long to find this video of Simone Biles.
I'm Simone Biles, and I love my body. It helps with gymnastics, and it teaches younger girls to love their bodies as well. I got made fun of for my arms a lot, Some people would say like mean things. They used to call me like a soldier. At the time, it didn't make me feel the best, so I wore sweaters or jackets all year long. To body shamers, let me see. I feel like if you love your body, then that's all you can do, so it doesn't matter what anybody else says. So I think they have to learn to fall in love with themselves. And I think it's out of jealousy sometimes.
Crazy she's been a part of all of these body positivity campaigns and even explicitly sent a message to body shamers and then body shame me. So I have a question for Athleta, one of Simone Biles' sponsors, who claimed they sponsored her to empower young girls. Is this what you call empowering women and girls? Because I don't think so. I think I'll spend my money elsewhere. And in the meantime, I'm going to continue to use my platform to actually empower women and girls.
And family, you know what's interesting about this? She was very strategic when she responded. You want to know why? Because if you want to really get somebody to feel the full effect of the consequences of their actions, hit them where it hurts. And the place where it hurts is they money. Everybody tight with their money. You know, a lot of people preach or say, "Oh no, I'm a Democrat. Oh no, I'm a Republican." But we all conservatives when we come to our money. We don't want nobody touching our money, our moolahs. I tell you, because we tight. We want to control it, and we want to use our money and allocate it for what we want to allocate it for. I think we all can agree with that. But the thing is, it's interesting because women shouldn't lose spots when it comes to scholarships or dignity in the name of inclusion. And if you want to lane for trans athletes, in this case, Simone Biles, since she seemed to be advocating for them, then build one. Don't bulldoze the lane women fought for. And Simone has Simone, sorry, I've been saying her name all wrong. Simone has a massive platform, but she used it to punch down and not challenge ideas, but insult another woman. Now, I'm with Riley Gaines on this one, right? And because when celebrities push ideology over biology, young girls are the ones who lose, the next generation. And integrity gets sacrificed for clout, visibility. So the very thing that Simone Biles stood on, obviously she has compromised her morals and what she stands for. Now that she has the visibility and been in this lane she carved out, being legendary as she is for a long period of time. And that's why I have been taught and I had to learn that when you do become successful, you have to pray for character because character will keep you. There's no money in the world that will keep you grounded because at the end of the day, when usually money get involved, your pride comes involved because now you feel on top of the world. And they say, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Money is not evil. For the love of money is the root of all evil. So what would you do for $1 that you wouldn't do when you didn't? What would you do for $1 that you wouldn't do when you were trying to get the dollar, but you actually stood for something? But let's move on to the next clip with Riley Gaines because she had responded as well for a second time. Check it out.
Yesterday, Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast, the best of the best, bar none. There is no one else even remotely in her league in women's gymnastics. I guess in an attempt to be inclusive and virtuous, decided to sell out all women and girls who have dreams to achieve and to succeed, and to specifically personally attack and body shame me. She tweeted this out of the blue, like this came out of nowhere, and she said, "Riley, me, you're truly sick, all of this campaigning because you lost a race." First of all, if she's insinuating I lost to a man, I've lost several races in my career, duh, that's part of being an athlete. But if she's saying I lost to a man, that's factually incorrect. We tied, besides the point. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Let me get something straight. It's my job. It's the women's job. This is what Simone Biles is saying. It's the women's job to find a way for the men's feelings to be validated, for their identity to be affirmed. That's not my job, actually, at all. So to say I should be doing this is insane. If she wants to use her platform to uplift men and women's sports, then by all means. But it's certainly not my job, and I don't believe it's the job of any woman to do this. She goes on to say, but instead you bully them. One thing's for sure, no one in sports is safe with you around. I can't even make sense of that last part, actually. Then, out of the blue, she tweeted this: bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male, which is hilarious, really for two reasons. Number one, she's acknowledging there are differences, like physiological, biological differences between men and women in saying this. Secondly, I'm 5'5", which might seem like a giant to someone who's like 4'7", 4'8", but I'm pretty standard size for a woman. I guess like relatively muscular, right? Being an athlete, I would imagine Simone would understand that, but I weigh like 135 pounds, 5'5", of pretty much pure muscle. And again, if anyone would understand that, you would think it's Simone Biles, a woman who has historically been scrutinized for having a very muscular, masculine looking body. She was scrutinized to the point she did this whole body positivity campaign. Then she has the nerve to say that I look like a man. And not to mention, this is a woman who has been incredibly brave in calling out and witnessing the horrific sexual abuse that she and hundreds of other female gymnasts faced at the hands of one sexual predator, that predator being Larry Nassar. In the same breath, believing that vulnerable women should be forced to strip down naked in front of men in locker rooms so long as it makes the man feel happy. If Larry Nassar came out as trans, would Simone think it's responsible or safe for him to be housed in a women's prison? To be very, very clear, I could care less what Simone Biles says about me. I'm a very secure person. I know I'm on the right side of history. I'm married, so if she wants to say I look like a man, I literally could care less. The most heartbreaking part about this, for me, is the platform that she has and the amount of young girls who look up to her. That she just, in a blink of an eye, sold out to appear to be virtuous. What we saw from Simone is the definition of pulling up the ladder behind you, something people like Megan Rapinoe have also done. I have a feeling that if Simone's inclusive dream came true, she would have 0 Olympic medals and no one would even know who she is. So, if she wants to advocate for men and women's sports, by all means, it's America. You get to do that. I get to call you stupid
That's
for
true.
it, but you get to do that. Maybe in the 28 Olympics, she can compete and pommel a horse in the rings. But I am going to keep standing up for women and girls, which is just about the least controversial take on the entire planet. If you can remove yourself from the opinions of the elite, of mainstream media, of Hollywood, of any elected representation, the position that I have taken is the same position that about 90% of Americans have taken, which is that men should not be in women's sports. Simone Biles having internalized misogyny and being a male apologist was certainly not on my 2025 bingo card.
Well, now, family, let's have a conversation. Hood Life Chronicles, I appreciate you for watching me. Do you think this is a little strange? I don't think it's a little strange. I think it's just wrong in its entirety. You also said that should be a mistrial alone. I agree. And then you said this should be a mistrial. I definitely agree. It's for the simple fact that it seems to be that since Simone Biles has advocated for woman empowerment because she was once called a swolger because she had been muscular and was picked on, it seems like a bully is bullying a bully, but she's trying to accuse Riley Gaines of being a bully by deflecting, but Simone Biles is really being a bully with her influence, let alone being misleading and putting women in danger while all being a bully at the same time. And I have a sister, and from experience, being raised by my mother, majority of the time a single mother, women, I always say, should walk in packs and never walk alone. And I had a friend who have experience of being in a transgender bathroom, and the individual may have operated as if he was a female, but it was all the intent of to operate it to come off as if he was a female or trans. And in reality was he was never none of that. He just wanted to obviously be in a bathroom with women, while he was hopefully and he was hopefully and wholesomely a man. So that's how I understand and I resonate, and I'm with Riley Gaines on this side, that it actually puts women in danger. And Simone Biles is actually advocating for women to be more in danger instead of empowering women, and it's very contradicting. So my question would be, who paid her all of a sudden to switch her stance and what type of and at the cost of her morals and principles. So what she stood for at first, and now she's switching sides and the endangerment, acting on the endangerment of women instead of actually protecting a woman and empowering a woman, which she initially stood on in the first place, or stood for in the first place. So then it tells you, and it brings and bears the question of, does she really care about woman empowerment, or does she care about following a trend for her own selfish gain, let alone bullying others at the detriment of women when she's a woman herself who has been picked on and been powered by other people, but now she's using her influence as backlash to come at individuals, specifically women, putting them in danger, but not empower or advocating for the same woman that empowered her to get as far as she did. And also her work. I don't discredit her work ethic. Obviously, she had to work to get where she's at. But obviously, the influence to even be listened to came from individuals in which she resonated with in the first place, which was women who she empowered originally, right? So never forget where you come from, is what I'm trying to say. But that's mind-blowing to me. However, I wanted to touch on to another topic, and I hope you guys are getting some value from this video. And this is the last topic I want to touch on, which is AI. So this is a segment about AI, and Amazon AI takeover is here. And I think it's very interesting. Check it out, and then we'll have a conversation.
Stanley's out with a new note today, calling Amazon an underappreciated Gen AI winner, citing its investments in automating $200 billion in logistics costs. Those dollars could have a major impact for Amazon's core e-commerce business. Our Kate Rooney's here with more for today's Tech Check. They have been active this week, Kate.
Yeah, Carl, some news this week, but from the beginning of the big tech AI race, if you think about it, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy has really argued that this technology is going to help their business internally. He's said at certain points they're not just competing here because it's cool and because it's the newest buzzword. We are seeing some more proof of that strategy as AI now emerges as a way to keep costs down within Amazon's giant e-commerce business. So in part, they're using robots in Silicon Valley. This is often known as physical AI. And then they're also streamlining that supply chain. Amazon does need this more than ever right now with the threat of tariffs and higher prices. The trade war has weighed on shares, negative on the year, really lingering in the middle of the Mag 7 lately. This week, Amazon rolled out some incremental AI updates. One new model was meant to speed up delivery. Another is to upgrade its fleet of robots, which in turn helps automate warehouses and keep costs down. So the key here for investors is margins. Right now, Amazon's business has roughly 11% operating margins for e-commerce. It's about half of that, but had gone negative if you think back to COVID, and those margins have since recovered. Gene Munster, for example, over at Deepwater, thinks Amazon could get to 15% operating margins if all of these AI efforts end up paying off, especially in robotics. He compared it really to Tesla's strategy. Munster thinks a bulk of the value right now in AI for Amazon is in fulfillment center robots. I did speak to Amazon's robotics chief technologist who described these AI updates as a way to improve the brains of these machines.
We call it physical AI because what we're doing is we're blending the mind with the body. We can create a more adaptive robot. We can take on the menial, the mundane, and the repetitive, eliminate that with our robotics. We can improve efficiencies for our customer to pass along a low cost as well.
This could go even further. There was a report from The Information this week that Amazon is now testing humanoid robots for delivery. Right now, Amazon has almost 1 million of these machines out there in warehouses. I would say the vast majority, though, are not humanoid robots. They're sort of these robotics arms you can see on the screen there, for example, or they sort of look like giant Roombas on these factory floors. If robots and AI and supply chain can meaningfully keep costs down, investors are going to be more willing to support about $100 billion in CapEx that Amazon has been shelling out right now, guys.
We're just going to throw another number in, which was 1.56 million people. That's how many Amazon employs globally. I mean, we've been talking about the job threat or job change, as Jim Breyer just said, to AI. When you're talking about productivity and more robots, I assume you're talking about cost savings on jobs and potentially
hiring. Yeah, it's a great question, Sarah. That's something we continuously ask them. And the immediate answer is typically, it's actually in the near term going to result in more jobs. I know Jim Breyer said, different jobs. And that is sort of the sentiment here. But you have to, if you're connecting the dots here, if it's more robots, especially humanoid robots, you would think the end result is fewer people. But with the job numbers out today, there's been arguments over not having enough people to work in some of these warehouses. But overall, Amazon hasn't said this. They've said, we're going to keep jobs stable. But that is one way that you could theoretically cut costs and keep costs down.
Yeah, the other wrinkle is that some of the reporting about their push on robotics this week suggests that they're testing a lot of Chinese-made robots, which adds a whole other level of complexity.
Right, Unitree. So it's sort of this smaller robot, but I was surprised to read that as well, Carl, that they have this partnership with Agility. The CEO of Agility Robotics, which is one of their partners, was on.
All right, because I know a lot of people are going to worry and say, it's going to cut jobs and technology are taking over. What I want to say when it comes to Amazon AI expansion is this isn't just some tech hype. Amazon is quietly automating, as you guys heard, $200 billion worth of logistics, right? So warehouse robotics, AI forklifts, delivery bots, even humanoid workers. And real talk, the machines are here, right? The takeover is here, baby. You're either going to get with the times or you're going to get left behind. So I like to break down things from a simplistic, childlike perspective. I always say it that way because, I want to resonate it with the everyday person. So I used to work as an OR tech in an operating room in a hospital as a tech. I would carry blood to the blood lab, frozen. If individuals have maybe been an organ donor, they'll put it in a frozen box, with dry ice and stuff like that, take it down to the lab and things like that, right? And also get cases ready for the next day, sutures, threads and stuff like that. However, I also assisted in part of with the environmental service crew, which was the cleaner or janitor, which I originally was when I inserted the hospital. So I say all that to say that Amazon is focused on turnover time. The same reason why not only was our OR tech, transporting the blood, getting the blood to the operating room, helping when they needed more blood for transfusions when it comes to going down to the blood bank and coming back up and going to the lab and doing all those things and getting stretchers ready and getting patients on the floor and bringing them down to PACU to prepare for surgery, and then helping the cleaning crew, which is the environmental services, aka janitors, help clean the rooms full of blood and debris and stuff like that. So the turnover time is more faster so we can get more patients in to get surgery and fully recover. And the faster they get to surgery, obviously they feel better, right? So now let's translate that to Amazon and AI. However, what does that mean for the everyday worker? It means attrition. So people aren't being fired outright, but when they leave or burn out, they're being replaced by robots and not people. And Amazon wants efficiency, not empathy. And when it comes to efficiency, the turnover time is fast. That's why when in the click of a button, you could probably get whatever order you want within less than 24 hours, maybe within same day shipping. And their turnover time is so fast to the simple fact that that's why the e-commerce route has taken over. And that's why Amazon has been so dominant, because they have been so efficient, so effective, and so fast. Anything you want right there, right within the click of a button, it can get to your door, and it's very convenient. See, America being a capitalistic society and being a capitalistic country as a whole, the convenience sells, and anybody wants something that's convenient for them, because then it saves time, and then also it benefits them, because at the end of the day, we all know when it comes to business, you have to basically create a solution which sells and which is effective and resonates with the everyday customer. And that's why Amazon is so big of a thriving company as it is, and malls and stuff are closing for the simple fact is because individuals don't have to go to the store. They could just do it within the click of a button and they'll be at their front door. So it's attrition, and their e-commerce margins are razor thin, but robots can push those margins up. No sick days, no union fights, no HR drama from human resources. That's not just innovation, that's a takeover. And don't buy the line that AI will create new jobs. 10 engineers don't replace 1,000 warehouse workers. So if you're not learning, adapting, and upgrading, you're getting left behind. That's not fear mongering. Fear mongering, that's the truth. So here's the play: learn, Pivot and stop thinking loyalty will save you in a world where algorithms will write the rules. And AI is already learning your job. And you better be learning something too. I always say cybersecurity, AI, machine learning, get into a STEM field. And at the end of the day, you don't need engineers as much, software engineers, because AI is doing the coding. But this isn't about keeping up. It's just about staying relevant in the world that's changing, whether you're ready or not. You know what I'm saying? My grandma, she will refuse chaos when it comes to being at the meat market. But look, I told my grandma, look, you got to do this. There's no more yelling over the counter. Hey, can I get a pound of honey turkey breast? The days are over. Hit the chaos. It prints out the paper. It prints out a little slip. That'll get your meat ready. It'll be ready right at the right on the shelf or the counter. Right? So it's just part of innovation. It's the same thing with the job market. The world is ever evolving. But that's all I had to cover for today in regards of the segments. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Um, I was very nervous, but I start cooking. I start getting warmed up, and I hope you guys got some value from this. Um, and Joanna B. Williams said, "Oops." Um, so yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I am planning to do live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hopefully cover some finance or some tech or some politics, and also some popular culture, right? What's trending. We have before I like to read the chats, and I like to interact with the chat. You guys are my co-hosts, so super chats or whatever the case may come across, I will read them after every segment. And this is the last segment, so I'm just reading whatever comes across. Puppet Master say, "Yo, pardon me." Your pardon. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome. But no further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, spread that peace, love, and positivity. Get this get this live stream. I said video. I'm so used to saying that in a pre-recorded video. Get this live stream a big thumbs up on your way out the door. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Puppet Master says she lying. Who lying? Who lying? Talk to me. But look, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I appreciate you for rocking with me. You could have watched anyone else. It's 22 of you guys viewing, 9 likes. I appreciate you. So with no further ado, I'm gonna just leave on that note. Appreciate you for rocking with me. Catch you in the next one, family. Peace.